Okay, now it's your turn. If you have any questions, please, by all means. Yes.
I had heard that, or what some people have said about tazila was that it coincided with the philosophical movement coincided with the translation of Greek philosophical literature, like Plato and Socrates and things like that, and that it was almost kind of an external something. It was like an external movement as opposed to kind of an internal Islamic movement. And I was wondering to what extent that's true or not true.
No, that's not true at all. This comes from Orientalist types of literature and history writing. Mu'tazila were a genuine, internal, self-made Islamic response to the nature of the times. The nature of the times were that there were these different religious arguments and philosophical arguments that were presented to Muslims, and they found that Muslims need to respond to these arguments in a rational way. And Muslims can do that because the information they have is superior. The information that comes to Muslims come from Allah and His Prophet. So if we have superior information, we should be able to formulate superior answers and responses to whatever theological, philosophical, ideological, or political ideas that the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, the Hindus, the Egyptians, and the rest had in the area. Because this was a growing Islam, and Islam now was coming in contact with these other people, and these other people began to try to exercise their mental superiority over the Muslims. Because to begin with, Muslims were just leaving the Arabian Peninsula. And Muslims in the Arabian Peninsula did not have philosophies. They did not have theologies. They did not have ideologies. None of that. They just had this simple relationship with Allah. They took Allah at His word, literally, and they're trying to work His will. Just go out to the world and explain to them what this Islam is. So when these other people, with their own centuries and with their own elaborate discussions and elaborations and details and analyses and extrapolations, when Muslims came in contact with them, it was only natural that from within the Muslim realm, we the Muslims could put together a rational response to these other types. And that's what the Mu'tazila did. And they did it with all sincerity, they did it with good intentions, they did it to defend Islam from because remember at the time you had people who were becoming Muslims who were not really Muslims. They had all of this Christian or this Jewish or this Greek or this Persian or this Egyptian background in them. And they tried to maybe skew Islam to fit into that background. The Mu'tazila served as a filter in the rational sense so that Islam doesn't get absorbed into the previous makeup of these people. So they served a real good purpose, and they were homegrown. This didn't come from Greek thought or from other philosophies or anything. And if anything, it wasn't Greek. The Mu'tazila were knocking mental heads, so to speak, more with the Persians than with anyone else. But still, once again, they were not an extension of any of these philosophies by any means.